Within seconds of entering any room, your place in the hierarchy has already been decided, not by your words, your credentials, or your title, but by signals you never knew you were sending. Research shows these judgments reach 71% accuracy. There are hidden rules governing social status that determine who gets heard, who gets followed, and who gets ignored, and they begin long before anyone speaks. Across cultures and centuries, two distinct routes to social power stand out. One path is built on dominance, the ability to impose one's will through force, intimidation, or the threat of punishment. The other is prestige, earned through competence, expertise, or generosity, where deference is given freely by others who value what a person knows or can do. This dual framework, first mapped by social psychologists Joseph Henrich and Francisco Gil White in 2001, has held up in dozens of experiments and field studies. In the dominance pathway, influence depends on the capacity to control outcomes, often by making others wary of the costs of defiance. A dominant figure can silence a room, command attention, or redirect a conversation without uttering a word. Yet dominance comes at a price. Those who wield it may be obeyed, but are rarely liked. Prestige, by contrast, draws people in. Individuals recognized for their skill or insight attract followers who seek to learn, imitate, or simply be near them. Deference here is voluntary, fueled by admiration rather than fear. Laboratory studies have shown that both dominance and prestige reliably predict who will sway group decisions, but only prestige aligns with likability and lasting respect. Eye-tracking experiments reveal that people fixate on both dominant and prestigious individuals, suggesting that attention itself is a social currency, regardless of the underlying root. Cross-cultural research further confirms these patterns, from North American offices to rural communities in South America and Asia. While the balance between dominance and prestige shifts by context, crisis, collaboration, or competition, the two routes remain foundational, shaping how status is assigned, protected, and challenged in every group. Understanding these dual paths is essential for decoding the signals that come next, the subtle cues and behaviors that reveal without words who truly hold sway. Status is rarely announced outright. Instead, it's signaled through a set of cues that shape who leads and who follows. Spatial command comes first. Those who claim the center seat at a meeting table, stand with open posture, or spread their belongings subtly mark themselves as higher status. Field studies confirm the central seat's quiet authority, a pattern visible in offices and classrooms alike. Voice carries its own weight. Lower pitch is tied to authority, and even a slight drop in pitch at the start of a discussion can shift perceptions of dominance, as Joey Chang's research shows. Steady, measured speech at a confident volume signals control, while rushed or hesitant tones undermine it. Timing in conversation reveals rank. People who interrupt more often, or who speak up first and most frequently, are typically assigned higher status. Interruption frequency is a reliable indicator, and even the order of entering or leaving a room, first in and last out, can quietly reinforce hierarchy. Material signals are hard to miss. Clothing, accessories, and workspaces act as visible investments. A limited edition watch, a designer bag, or the corner office all draw on the logic of scarcity and exclusivity. Jonah Berger's studies show that rare or high-cost items reliably boost perceived competence and desirability. Ritualized behaviors also matter. Who initiates a handshake, who is greeted first, or who sets the agenda, these acts encode deference and respect. Irving Goffman's work reveals that such rituals reinforce hierarchy without a word. Together, these signals, space, voice, timing, material cues, and ritual form a checklist that quietly guides social order. 5 behavioral patterns drive the spread and reinforcement of hierarchy in groups, each leaving a measurable imprint on social dynamics. The first is deference cascades. When a single person signals respect or compliance towards someone, others tend to follow, creating a multiplier effect on the recipient's status. Robert Cialdini's experiments show that a visible endorsement can rapidly escalate a newcomer's rank, with influence compounding as each observer aligns with the initial act of deference. Next is costly signaling. Some status signals come with a price, such as luxury goods, rare experiences, or time-consuming displays of expertise. Amos Zahavi's theory predicts that only those with genuine resources can afford these signals, making them credible. Research finds that items perceived as costly can command a 15% premium in perceived value or competence, even when the underlying quality is identical. Mimicry, often called the chameleon effect, is the third mechanism. Subtle imitation of gestures, speech patterns, or mannerisms can foster affiliation and temporarily raise the mimicker's standing. Tanya Chartrand's studies reveal that those who mirror high-status individuals are more likely to be accepted and trusted, while the gain in influence often closes as soon as the mimicry is recognized or becomes too obvious. Dominance displays form the fourth pattern. Expansive postures, direct gaze, and assertive interruptions can elevate perceived authority, but the effect is double-edged. While these behaviors reliably increase control over group decisions, they also risk sparking envious or defensive responses, sometimes reducing cooperation or likability, as documented in Fitzgerald's research. Finally, the warmth-competence trade-off, mapped by Susan Fisk's stereotype content model, shapes how status is interpreted. High competence can offset low warmth, allowing respected but distant figures to maintain authority. However, the reverse rarely holds. Likability alone seldom translates to lasting influence. Together, these 5 mechanisms operate in concert, weaving the invisible threads of hierarchy that run through every group interaction. In a San Francisco boardroom, Travis Kalanick's voice cut through the noise, elbows anchored, gaze unwavering. Internal meeting footage and leaked memos later revealed a deliberate choreography, including interruptions, central seating, and a refusal to yield the floor. These dominance signals, once a source of momentum, began to erode trust. Investors pointed to his relentless style and public disputes as warning signs. By June 2017, after a cascade of boardroom leaks and mounting internal debate, Kalanick resigned. His letter circulated within hours. Autumn 1960. 2 presidential candidates, Nixon and Kennedy, stood beneath the glare of studio lights. Nixon's rigid posture and restless eyes contrasted with Kennedy's calm, measured presence. Television audiences, swayed by Kennedy's composure, declared him the victor. Yet radio listeners, untouched by visual cues, favored Nixon's arguments and steady voice. The debate's outcome shifted depending on which signals reached the audience, exposing the power of perception in shaping status. In an Indiana high school cafeteria, ethnographer Donna Eder watched a newcomer, Alex, quietly mirror the group's slang and gestures. Within weeks, seniors began echoing his phrases, inviting him to the central table. The shift happened not through challenge, but through mimicry and subtle deference. By the end of the month, Alex, once an outsider, had become a quiet center of gravity, his acceptance sealed by the group's own imitation. On city streets and online, the Anti-Social Social Club logo became a symbol of belonging. Brand documents showed how limited runs and influencer deals created scarcity. Hoodies bought for $30 sold for over $400. Rarity became value, and each drop turned clothing into a badge of prestige, bought and resold, one limited run at a time. Snap judgments shape the social order long before anyone speaks. In group settings, the halo effect takes hold. A single trait like confidence or a steady gaze colors everything else. Studies show that when a person displays one high-status cue, such as calm posture, observers rate them as more intelligent or more trustworthy, even if there is no evidence for those qualities. The thin slice phenomenon reveals just how quickly these impressions form. Viewers watching 3-second clips of strangers assigned status roles could identify the leader 71% of the time, far above chance. But these instincts are not always accurate. Once a label sticks, it can become self-fulfilling. Rosenthal's research found that when people are told someone is a leader, that person tends to act more assertively, further convincing the group. The fundamental attribution error then kicks in. Observers credit these behaviors to personality, not circumstance, reinforcing hierarchies that may have started with nothing more than a glance. Small tweaks in presentation can quietly shift how authority is assigned, even before words are spoken. In a controlled experiment, participants wearing a dark suit were rated 13% higher in authority than those in lighter colors. On video calls, a neutral virtual background, free of clutter or bold colors, nudged observers to give the speaker more turns to talk. In a study by Gao and Lee in 2021, these effects are subtle, yet measurable. But not every tactic holds up under scrutiny. The so-called power pose, once promoted as a shortcut to confidence, failed to show reliable hormonal changes in major replications led by Grono and others. While some behavioral boosts were reported, the physiological evidence did not materialize. The lesson is clear. Minor adjustments in clothing or environment can influence status perceptions, but science demands caution. Replication and context matter as much as the first dramatic finding. Status is negotiated in every silent glance and subtle gesture, online and offline. As algorithms now amplify these invisible cues, awareness becomes power. The structures we navigate are built as much by perception as by policy. In a world of hidden hierarchies, understanding is the new advantage.